The time is 1 o'clock from Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. First, the news headlines. Former Pension Reform Task Team Chairman Abdulrasheed Maina to remain in custody as court rejects fresh bail application. Also in the headlines, JAMB abolishes cut-off marks tertiary institutions to decide. Afghanistan, Joe Biden defends U.S. pullout as Taliban claim victory. In sports, Barcelona signs Sevilla's Luc de Jong as Antoine Griezmann rejoins Atletico Madrid. Those are the headlines. Now the news in detail. The Federal High Court in Abuja has refused to hear a fresh bail application filed by the former chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Abdulrasheed Maina. The judge, Justice Ahmed Mohammed, declined to hear the bail application filed by Maina's lawyer, David Yomba, on the ground that it was contentious. He ruled that the matter could not be heard during the court's vacation and consequently returned the case to Justice Okonabang, who has been the trial judge in this substantive case, for hearing on the application when the court resumes from vacation. Earlier in his argument, counsel to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Andrew Ocholi, had opposed the application filed by Maina, saying he had filed a counter affidavit and a preliminary objection to show that the application was no longer entitled to bail. A standing trial alongside his firm, Common Impute Property and Investment Limited, over a 12-count charge bordering on money laundering of over 1 billion naira, among other offences. The federal government may sanction eligible Nigerians who refuse COVID-19 vaccination amid reactions to the declaration by Edo and Ondo states regarding restricted access to public places for unvaccinated residents. The hint was dropped yesterday by the executive director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, the NPHCDA, Faisal Shuaib, at a briefing in Abuja. Shuaib said the government may apply the basic rule of law against such people because they will be endangering the lives of other people.
Vaccine hesitancy remains a major challenge in Nigeria, and the government says it's contemplating enforcement of a stricter measure to scale up vaccination.
Once these vaccines are made equitably available to all Nigerians, then we will have to have a frank discussion about justice, fairness, and liberty that exists around vaccine hesitancy. Your human right stops where mine begins. So, you have a right to refuse vaccines, but you do not have the right to endanger the health of others.
The Borno state government has declared an outbreak of cholera in the state. The declaration followed the death of 43 persons who suffered from the disease across 7 local governments of the state. The Borno State Commissioner for Health, Juliana Bitrus, said 559 suspected cases have so far been recorded, but only 57 out of that number were hospitalized. According to her, the outbreak was detected in 7 local governments, including Gwoza, Kaga, Hawul, Magomeri, Damboa, Maiduguri Metropolitan Council, and Jere.
Position on declaration of cholera outbreak in Borno State. Despite decrease in number of cases across the state, however, as we are still in the season, there is need to step up responses across the state. For long, Borno State Cholera Preparedness Plan has been in place, which all partners are to buy in or to key in. On this note, and in line with current development, on behalf of the good people of Borno State, the Honorable Commissioner of Ministry of Health, in my capacity, hereby declare the outbreak of cholera, and with this, all stakeholders are to play appropriate roles and ensure the situation is put under control. Lives lost must be minimized and be brought to zero level.
The federal government says it is set to immediately commence the rehabilitation of failed portions of the Lagos-Songo-Abeokuta Federal Highway. The Minister for Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, announced this during a teleconference between the Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, and the minister's team. This followed an intervention by Governor Abiodun over the deplorable state of federal roads in that corridor. In an earlier statement, the governor's chief press secretary, Kunle Shumorin, had said areas of immediate attention are the filled portions around Songota on the Lagos-Abeokuta Express Road and the Ota-Idiruku Road. According to him, those portions of the federal roads have become a nightmare to motorists and commuters. A team of engineers from the Federal Ministry of Works is now expected on Thursday for preparatory assessment ahead of the rehabilitation works. And President Muhammadu Buhari says focus on job creation, consistency in policy and innovation stimulated a 5% growth of the economy in the second quarter 2021, which is the highest in 6 years. The president, who stated this at the inauguration of the Nigeria Jubilee Fellows Program at the State House, Abuja, today, assured that the Jubilee Fellows Program would further consolidate on the success recorded. President Buhari listed some of the key drivers of economic growth and diversification in the second quarter to include telecommunications, transportation, electricity, agriculture, and manufacturing. The president encouraged all eligible Nigerians to apply for the Jubilee program while urging private sector organizations to join by providing work placement opportunities, mentors, and funding.
Being a fully paid post-NYSC work placement program for Nigerians will provide an opportunity for mentors who are already engaged in various industries and have gained relevant experience and build capacity over the years to provide mentorship and support for the young Nigerians that will be on the program. Beyond the skills and work experience, we will be building a new culture of mentorship and guidance that can chart our new course for skills development and work experience in our country. I set up the National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy Steering Committee to coordinate our work to fulfill my promise to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. This is building on the positive results from the economic recovery and growth plan and the targeted response to the effects of the coronavirus pandemic with the economic sustainability plan. These efforts have yielded results, with Nigeria recording its biggest economic growth in 6 years with a GDP growth of 5% in the second quarter of 2021.
In his remarks, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Adeniyi Adebayo, appreciated the role of private sector in transforming economies by creating employment and employment opportunities and investments. The federal government says it will establish 6 technology and innovation centers for global competitiveness in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country with the aim of producing made-in-Nigeria products. The Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Ogbonna Ayaonu, stated this when he paid a courtesy call to Kano State Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje at Government House, Kano. He said for the Northwest Zone, the Technology and Innovation Center will be established in Kano State. The minister maintained that the objectives of his visit to Kano were to sensitize and rub minds with university communities and relevant stakeholders in the zone, geared towards ensuring that the stated goals were achieved.
The white paper that will be drawn from the recommendations of these reports will address the challenges thus identified. It is hoped to mitigate the incessant friction between staff unions of these institutions and government and result in the much desired industrial harmony. I want to assure the nation that government will give accelerated attention to the recommendations and the white paper that will be produced from these reports.
Responding, Governor Ganduje said Technology and Innovation Center is sure as a way of turning the large population Nigeria have into an asset instead of a liability. He commended the minister for selecting Kano State as the location for establishing the hub for the Northwest geopolitical zone. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has signed the anti-grazing bill into law. The governor signed the bill on Tuesday after it was earlier passed by the State House of Assembly. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Donald Ojogo. According to the governor, the signage of the bill is in line with the resolution of the Southern Governors Forum at its last meeting in Lagos, where September 1st, 2021 was set as the deadline for governors in southern Nigeria to sign the anti-open grazing bill into law. The state government therefore vowed to pursue with vigor through lawful means to ensure strict compliance to the law. Details of the new law will be made available to the public for proper information, more depth of understanding on content as well as other relevant areas. Now, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has cancelled general cut-off marks for entrance into tertiary institutions, allowing the schools to set their minimum benchmarks. The decision was reached at the board's 2021 virtual policy meeting chaired by the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu. During the gathering where JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede spoke, the stakeholders adopted the 2021 admission guidelines, which provide that all applications for part-time or full-time programs in degree, NCE, OND, and other programs must be posted only through JAMB. The meeting also approved that the maximum and minimum scores for direct entry should be 6 and 2 or E in deference to extant law. On the admission criteria, Professor Oloyede said that the candidates' credentials must be uploaded on CAPS and recommended by the institution prior to JAMB's approval and candidates' acceptance of admission. You're still listening to the 1 p.m. news on Splash 105.5 FM. Now turning to the foreign scene. United States President Joe Biden has defended his decision to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan, a move which led to Taliban militants returning to power. President Biden said staying longer was not an option in an address to the nation a day after the end of a 20-year U.S. presence in Afghanistan. He praised troops for organizing an airlift of more than 120,000 people wishing to flee the Taliban regime. The Islamist militants have been celebrating what they call a victory. US-led troops went into Afghanistan in 2001, ousting the Taliban in the wake of the devastating 9/11 attacks blamed on Al-Qaeda, a militant jihadist group then based in the Asian country. Now, tens of thousands of people have been evacuated from the shores of Lake Tahoe in the Northern California as a major wildfire continues to spread. The Caldor fire has already burned more than 191,000 acres, with just 16% of the fire brought under control. More than 3,500 firefighters have been deployed to combat the blaze, which began more than 2 weeks ago. One hospital has been forced to evacuate, with patients transferred to other facilities in the region. 5 people have been injured, while more than 700 properties have been damaged or destroyed, according to authorities. The 22,000 residents of the city of South Lake Tahoe, a popular holiday destination, and surrounding areas were issued with an evacuation order on Monday morning. Finally, in sports, Barcelona have signed Netherlands striker Luc de Jong from Sevilla on a season-long loan after France's Antoine Griezmann left the Nou Camp to rejoin Atletico Madrid on a similar deal. Barca will pay 31-year-old De Jong's salary this season and have an option to make his stay permanent next summer. Atletico take on Griezmann's salary this term, but there is a compulsory clause to make the transfer permanent. The 30-year-old returns to Atletico 2 years after he joined Barca for £107 million. The France striker scored 133 goals in 257 games for Atletico, winning the Europa League, UEFA Super Club and Spanish Super Cup during his time in the Spanish capital. But the 30-year-old scored just 35 goals in 102 games and managed to win only the Copa del Rey with Barca. All right, just before we go, a recap of the headlines. Former Pension Reform Task Team Chairman Abdurrashid Maina to remain in custody as court rejected fresh bail application. JAMB has abolished cut-off marks, tertiary institutions now to decide. President Joe Biden has defended U.S. pullout from Afghanistan as Taliban claim victory. And in sports, Barcelona have signed Sevilla's Luc de Jong as Antoine Griezmann rejoined Atletico Madrid. For more details on the news, visit our website at www.splashfm1055.com. Now, you can download the Splash FM mobile app on iOS and Google Play Store to listen live, get news update, opinion poll, and also report an event live to us through the iReport feature. To download, simply go to any of the stores mentioned and search for Splash FM 105.5, then click to download. We have now come to the end of the news on Splash 105.5 FM, the integrity station and the best radio station in the southwest of the country. The news editor is Tunde Olawuwu, assisted by Chinwe Churchill. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.
240. Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.
Here is
105.5.
Access.
105.4.
One station, all the hits.
105.5. Splash. We've got the city on lockdown.
Got my own city that I hold down.
We are Splash 105.5. Splash FM 105.5.
I need your boy eyes.